Democracy is at work after a statutory 4-year tenure and a new one gaining momentum with citizens' agreement of a representative government. Truth of this fact in what is considered one of the most intense state elections after a 1-week extension, the electorate, desperate for change, stormed the polling units to elect candidates who will pilot the affairs of the state in the next 4 years. And for the first time in the history of elections in Nigeria, it was neither business as usual nor a walkover for candidates. It was indeed a battle of survival by the returning and new contestants, where only the fittest survived. Some called it a tsunami, as 26 states have decided. 2 remain inconclusive. What will be the fate of the 2 states? Well, we'll get to find out in a couple of weeks. But the storm is over for those states that have decided, with high expectations from the states' chief executives. The harmonious symphony of drums for better service delivery from across the nation are reminding the governors-elect of the task ahead. What are these expectations? Well, my guest is Dr. Emeka Okengwu, a development expert. I am Jummai Yusuf. First, let's get the news. Information and communication technology experts say indigenizing blockchain technology holds the key to huge financial gains for Africa. Chidima Indubisi will tell us more.
Blockchain is an emerging technology deployable in all sectors, particularly the business world and the financial market. This shared unchangeable ledger, enabling recording transactions and tracking assets in a business network, ensures trust and transparency in business dealings. Cross-border payment has become seamless and cost-effective. ICT professionals believe blockchain technology holds robust economic potential for Africa.
On a usual, it costs from the traditional finance about 16-17% for someone to send money from Nigeria up to other parts of the world. But then with blockchain, we've seen that one can literally utilize platforms send money for just less than $1 in Western world, where people tax people for trading crypto. We are currently not doing that in Nigeria. That's a huge chunk of opportunity for the economy to actually benefit from.
We're talking about over $1 trillion to tap in from blockchain, and Africa currently is less than 5% of it. So how does Africa benefit from this?
The metaverse is simply a virtual playground, right? And when you use the metaverse, you notice that technology is there, buildings, clothing, assets, attires are not tailored to the African community.
The solution, experts agree, is for African developers to incorporate African culture, goods and services in the blockchain technology. In Abuja, Chimdema Ndubisi, NTA News.
Turkey Radio Television officially commences its TRT Africa service with the official launch of its social media platforms in English, French, Hausa, and Swahili. Onenge Fineface reports that the launch was at the TRT Africa Broadcasters Summit in Istanbul.
Turkey's public broadcaster TRT is heralding a new era on the continent. To cement this partnership, Turkey launches TRT Africa to make the voice of Africa louder.
Telling the African story as it is the motivation for this ambitious undertaking by the Turkey Radio Television, TRT.
Therefore, one of our immediate challenges is to make African broadcasting a source of inspiration for the promotion of culture, economy, and know-how of our people.
The TRT hopes to achieve this target by building collaboration with public service broadcasters in Africa.
We want TRT Africa to be different from all what we are seeing in Africa. All the volume of news we are receiving from Africa. We want TRT to be different. We want TRT to help us to talk about Africa as it is, not as journalists think it is.
Beyond media relations, this partnership promotes Turkey's diplomatic ties with countries in Africa. In Istanbul, Turkey, Onengiye Fine Face, NTA News.
Now, 6,386 students of the professional postgraduate diploma in accountancy have graduated from the Nigerian College of Accountancy in Kwali, Plateau State, with a charge to adhere to the ethics of the profession. Saadatu Mohammed Kafa, who covered the combined convocation of course 27 and 28, reports that the executive chairman, Federal Inland Revenue Service, Mohammed Nami, was conferred with an award of fellow.
Graduates having gone through this training are now certified professionals with a reminder to be good ambassadors of the institution.
Many of us started this journey, but they are nowhere to be found today. I'm so excited for this day.
Most of the people who are convocated here today, course 27 and 8, are also going to turn out to become the premium brand that Anan is really pushing.
We're saying to our graduates, go out there and make tremendous impact. Don't be satisfied with just being a graduate. Be the best you can be.
Director General of the college, Dr. Friday Akpan, says notable leaders who have excelled across the country have passed through the institution.
Our professionals, they have a role to play. And in playing this role, they must be intentional, discretional about integrity, discipline, and experience, which is very, very important.
Every profession, particularly Anan, must strive to promote the ideals and the core values of that profession. Once this is done, Nigeria will overcome the challenges of leadership that's a deficit in our development.
High point of the convocation was the presentation of award of fellow to the representative of the governors of Gombe, Adamawa and Yobe states, who were found worthy in character and commitment to the growth of the college. Saadatu Mohammed Kafa, NTA News.
To safety on our road, the Federal Road Safety Corps has reiterated the need for proficiency training on driving for all security agencies in the country in order to maintain global standard of road transport safety. The Corps Marshal, Dauda Biu, dropped the hint during the courtesy call to the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission boss in Abuja. Oyeyemi Ajayi has the details.
Over time, there have been cases of auto crashes involving vehicles of VIPs as well as security agencies. The Federal Safety Corps is now disclosing that most of the drivers involved never went through the proficiency training, which many ignore. This meeting with the EFCC boss is to re-echo the need for proper training for security agencies on defensive driving, certification of vehicle fleets under the Road Transport Safety Standardization Scheme by the Corps.
We have experts in vehicle handling, in driving. Yes, so we want to propose that the EFCC should take advantage of our facilities so that they can do proficiency training for their drivers.
The best form of fighting economic and financial crimes is to put in processes and procedures in place to make it difficult for people to commit the fraud or for people to
process that
launder. Yes.
On the proposed handshake between the FRSC and the EFCC on Special Control Unit against money laundering, the Corps has submitted its requirements and awaits further communication on the project from the Commission. Oyeyemi Ajayi, NTA News.
In the quest to build a Nigeria that is equitable, viral, and steadfast in versatility, citizens, irrespective of faith, must be ready to sacrifice all ill wind of sentiments to front a united community. And state scholars and dignitaries gave the charge at the 20th anniversary celebration of Sahur Live, a popular TV guide for the nation in the holy month of Ramadan on the network service of the NTA. Onoto Yakubu reports that the Director General, Nigeria Television Authority, Saliu Abdul Hamid Dembos, reassured of more professionalism as a lead broadcast platform in the country.
For 2 decades, Sahur Live, a flagship digestive television enigma, runs for 2 hours and remains the companion of the secular growing viewership of NTA in Ramadan, cutting across strata to strengthen diversity of knowledge in the holy month through creativity to nurture the right way of life as gateway to paradise for the Ummah.
For us in the NTA, the story of Sahur Life is a clear testimony of our tenacity in creating programs that can stand the test of time. Sahur Life was a creation of one of our vibrant channels, the then NTA Plus, with a view to enriching the experience of the fasting Muslims.
Sahur Life was established by a Christian, which is very, very encouraging. It is a sign of unity in which we expect Nigerians to come together so that we hold Nigeria as one.
The second edition coincided with the anniversary celebration themed Islam and Nation Building.
A good Muslim, I'm saying, number 5, should be simple-minded. Number 6, should be truthful.
It is a Muslim who will build a nation, or the one that has the faith and the conviction of a Muslim, even if he doesn't come across as a Muslim.
Etsu Nupe, in his brief, as did other goodwill speakers on and off the podium, succinctly charged the Ummah to consistently combine knowledge, dawah, social and religious activities to advance positive cause of the nation.
Taken by these organizers, when they initiate on this program, they have done extremely well.
In the last 20 years of Sahur Life faith propagation sojourn, the brain behind the program, former executive director program and host of individuals on and off the screen, made immense innovative sacrifices from foundation to its present-day stronghold and were so duly honored. This culminated into a special national prayer to seek the face of Allah for peace, development, and unity of Nigeria. Onotu Yakubu, NTA News.
The republics of Cuba and Nicaragua, through their presidents, have joined the growing list of countries congratulating Nigeria's president-elect Bola Ahmed Tinubu on his victory in the February 25th presidential polls. In a statement issued by Tunde Rahman in the office of the Nigeria's president-elect, the Developing Aid Organizations for Economic Cooperation, D8, has also extended felicitations to the president-elect on his electoral success. In a congratulatory letter to Asiwaju Tinubu signed by President Miguel Diaz-Canel Bermudez, the Cuban government described his election as a reaffirmation of the will to continue to strengthen the historic relations of friendship between the two countries. On its part, Nicaragua expressed her best wishes for Nigeria's peace and prosperity. In the D8 statement signed by its Secretary General, Nigerian-born Ambassador Isiaka Abdul Qadir Imam, the organization expressed confidence that Nigeria under the Tinubu-led government would be more peaceful and prosperous and emerge as an economic powerhouse in Africa and on the global stage. And as preparations for another civilian-to-civilian transition in the country continues, concerned citizens are praying for successful handover and God's guidance to the president-elect. Abdullahi Mustafa covered a special prayer session held for this purpose at the Kano Government House. The report.
The long-awaited Nigerian presidential election has come and gone. With transition processes ongoing, the attention and hopes of concerned citizens are for a successful handover and the incoming administration to deliver as expected. This informs the coming together to hold a special prayer session. In addition to successful tenure, this prayer session convened by Governor Abdullahi Umar Ganduje is to also wish the president-elect well as he celebrates his 71st birthday.
We decided in our own wisdom to organize these prayers for him so that God will continue to give him good health and guidance so that he can rule this country, he can administer this country effectively.
Apart from Quranic recitation, special prayers were offered by various Islamic scholars in attendance. In Kano, Abdullahi Mustafa, NTA News.
Meanwhile, Amalgamated All Progressives Congress support groups has rolled out plans of activities before and after the inauguration of the President-elect Bola Ahmed Tinubu on May 29, 2023. Saliu Gwanara reports that the group also reaffirmed unity among its members.
Dinner party, which is going to be different from the normal dinner party. We have invited 2 African leaders.
To achieve these and other scheduled programs, leaders of the group have urged members not to be carried away with the election victory, but remain focused on the plans to implement the core objectives of the amalgamated support groups.
And we will put this administration that is coming on board on a pedestal that will be able to monitor the performance of the government from day one.
That was why we decided to bring in Dr. Kelani Mohammed, who is able to kind of give us the style of leadership we all want.
The group is coordinating the activities of about 2,000 support groups nationwide. In Abuja, Saliu Gwanara, NTA News.
Still talking politics, the APC ESCO of Kukadi Gundari Ward in Misau, local government area of Bauchi State, has suspended the state chairman of the party, Alhaji Babayo Aliu Misau, from his ward level. The APC ward chairman for Kukandi Gundari, Malam Ibrahim Zango Ladan, announced this while briefing the press in Abuja on grounds of anti-party politics. The secretary of Kukandi Gundari APC ward, Aliu Hassan Adamu, further explained the reason for the suspension.
The offense is 1. The state chairman has showing his ballot paper during voting, as he bought only member House of Assembly. The governorship column has not bought.
The decision takes immediate effect. President Muhammadu Buhari extends heartfelt condolences to the family of Umar Sanusi, a retired Deputy Controller of Customs who passed on recently. The President pays tribute to the disciplined officer who served the nation diligently until his retirement from the service in 2019 as DCG, Human Resources Department. The President urges family, friends and colleagues who mourn the departed to honor his memory by making sure that service to humanity is at the heart of their vocation. We'll take a break now. When we return, we'll begin our conversation on the expectations of the electorate from the governors-elect. Do stay. You're welcome back. Now, from Wednesday to Friday this week, it was a moment of celebration for governors-elect and members of state houses of assembly as INEC presents certificates of return to them. But after the celebration, what next? Mayor Ogidi reports on some promises made by governors-elect to ensure a smooth governance process.
26 state governors-elect and 935 state houses of assembly members-elect. It's a moment of joy for the governors-elect as INEC seals their victory, wearing the crown of victory with a projected burden of governance.
The work starts as from this moment, because the people who voted you into office must also be proud that you've gone there to deliver on what you're supposed to do.
Election and electioneering are over. It is time for good governance. We have no qualms of malice against anybody, even those who competed with us.
I once again promise to do my utmost best and will embrace every citizen of Nasarawa State in this journey of development.
I will maintain checks and balances in government. That means the principles of separation of power will be given priority.
While some prioritize peace building and infrastructural development, others focus on recovery mission.
This opportunity to call on anyone who has government property in his care or who has taken away funds belonging to government, we call upon them to return them immediately.
To immediately the drawing table to make our civil service work.
Civil service is the engine of society.
Transition Committee is already preparing the handover notes ahead of May 29 inauguration. But how long will the smiles last after the inauguration? The financial burden in some states may cut short such smiles. So critical thinking for more streams of financial income is a great task ahead of some of the governors that will be taking over the mantle of leadership in May 29, 2023. Mie Okede, NT News.
With the governorship and state assembly elections over, people of Sokoto and Zamfara State are calling on the incoming governors to focus on agriculture and find lasting solution to banditry in the states. In this report, Dalhatu Abdullahi takes a look at expectations of the people of the two states from the new government.
With the elections over, and Nigerians await 29th of May 2023, when new government will take over, public commentators are calling on the governor-elect Ahmed Aliyu Sokoto to focus on fighting banditry.
Said that he's going to use all resources to make sure that we have the security here in Sokoto and give a free education to all Sokoto State people.
And in Sokoto State, we really need leaders who we know are ready to develop Sokoto State and they bring peace, stability, and economic development. These are the kind of leaders Sokoto needs.
We need to invest in agriculture also. It is unfortunate that a state like Sokoto State, in terms of agriculture, will spend over 6 billion naira per annum in the purchase of fertilizer. I think with a very good head, we should have a fertilizer factory that can supply the whole of Africa with fertilizer.
Many are of the opinion that the governor-elect should hit the ground running so that his 9-point agenda will become a reality. In Zamfara State, the declaration of Dauda Lawal of PDP as the winner of the 2023 governorship election was widely greeted with joy and jubilation by a cross-section of people who are full of high expectations.
Expectation is very high, but much is on our security issues. Because I'm a villager, I know how my people in the village suffers a lot.
I want Dauda to look at how he can critically enhance business in this place. What he needs is an efficient, motivated workforce.
The respondents advised the governor-elect to operate an all-inclusive administration and make his appointments on merit. In Sokoto, Dalhatu Abdullahi, NTA News.
And joining me in the studio to talk about the expectations of Nigerians on the returning governors and the newly elected governors in Nigeria, is Dr. Emeka Okengwo, a development expert. You're welcome to Weekend 5.
Pleasure, thank you. Thank you for inviting me.
Well, some call it a tsunami, as strong established politicians lost out as Nigerians look forward to a fresh breath of air. Is the expectation too high, according to past history?
Well, you call it a tsunami. It sits better with disruptive. And if you look at the feelings being expressed, first, I don't think it's over. Yes, the elections are won and lost, but knowing our trajectory in litigations, I think a lot, considering your intro of calling this disruptive a tsunami, I do not think that governance is going to commence. It will commence on the 29th of May, but I also see a myriad of litigations because of these disruptions. Having said that as a background, the expectations are unusually high for very obvious reasons. Reason number one is, of course, there's been a lot of economic disruptions, there have been a lot of social disconnections, there have been a lot of socio-cultural, if you may, again, disruptions. So for me, what is most critical for anybody and everybody who's won election, either at the level of executive or at the level of lawmaking, is for us to be able to look at Nigeria a little bit more holistically vis-a-vis the amount of energy that has poured into these new people that were elected into public offices. That way you're able to measure expectations. In one breath, you saw the people in Sokoto saying that for a town like Sokoto, a state like Sokoto, spending 6 billion on importation of fertilizers, that's a no-no. But I can tell you something for free. Sokoto indeed can be able to develop a world-class fertilizer that can feed the whole of Africa with the products they need in fertilizer by just using neem and neem seeds, and they're just not going to be doing synthetic fertilizer. They're going to be producing organic fertilizer. And this is tied, to the phosphate that is all over Sokoto. Sokoto is sitting on top of, a lot of phosphate, that can also be used to produce inorganic fertilizers. Now, that will be a major challenge. The governor of the people in Zamfara State, I think it was either Sokoto or Zamfara, was talking about banditry. Now, when you talk about banditry, it becomes a chicken and egg situation. And this is where job creation, this is where infrastructure development, this is where skills come into play. It's not enough for you to use coercion to be able to stop, insurgency and banditry. There are other means. It has to be a mixture of what we call the carrot and the stick. And again, the governor of Abia State has started, reading the right out of asking people to return government properties, in their car. Yes, being a governor, you might not have all that authority to be able to say so, especially if those, properties are, within the right people who should be able to hold them. So point I'm trying to make really is that I think what we need to do between now, or the governors should need to do between now, is to be able to set up not just transition committees, but to set up technical working groups that can be able to think the feelings, the energies, the angers, the expectations of their people through. And then at that local level, see how they can also now tie it into a more national whole that can begin to now develop, what you might be able to call something that is enabling, something that is enduring, something that can be able to now meet everybody's needs as they go along.
Well, for returning governors, it's okay because the electorates have known what they have been doing, their manifesto and all that. But for the newly elected governors coming into government now, with the devastation of COVID-19, 2 recessions, as a development expert, Nigerians have been yearning for basic social services and have continued to beg for it. The stark reality for newly elected governors is the huge debt that they will be getting from the states they will steer. What's your take on that?
Well, I wish Huge could answer it. It might be also be astronomous, because if you look at the debt profiles of some states that have been published, it's staggering, and it's just not the debt that you're dealing with. You're also dealing with a civil service that is totally disconnected. So it's just not the debt issues that are going to be dealing with. They are going to be dealing with lack of infrastructure. They are going to be dealing with low, morale in the civil service, lack of, proper human capital and equipment. They are going to be dealing with a lot of things. And what is worse is that you're just not going to walk into government or walk into office and then they give you a file that tells you all. You might need to do a lot of needs assessment, you might need to do a lot of technical audits, you might need to do a lot of judicial inquiries, and this takes a lot of time. And remember that, okay, there's also going to be this pushback. It's not as if because you walk into government, the person you've pushed out of office is just going to now, throw flowers at you. There's also going to be a lot of pushback. So for even the ones that are coming back as governors, there's also been a lot of disruptions. You find out in most state governments, the houses of assembly are no longer going to be rubber stamp because some new political parties have edged in. I mean, it's almost very difficult now to see where you have any house of assembly that have a clear majority of members, tying in with the party of the sitting governor who's won election. I think interesting times are ahead, but I mean, it's for us to be able to, somebody mentioned agriculture. And each time people mention agriculture, I mention it at the level of the state. I said, no, we might be missing it. If you're just looking at agriculture at that state level. I think it's time we begin to now look at it from a more contiguous, perspective, where you now have states coming together to be able to develop what we call shared infrastructure or co-located infrastructure. Now, the same thing for energy. And I can tell you for free that with the experience we had when states were allowed to, start establishing universities, almost every state started establishing one. In fact, some secondary schools, primary schools were turned into tertiary institutions. I see the same thing happening now that, power has been removed from the exclusive list into the concurrent list. A lot of state governments might begin to push into that power thing, which is, a money guzzler is going to be taking a lot of, financial demand, and then you don't think it through. So part of what I think we should have done at this level is how do these state governors, especially those who run into contiguous systems, come together to begin to share knowledge, okay? Knowing how you can be able to now tie your population to the resources that are available to you. First and foremost, by doing what you call a needs map. I don't see any governor that has spoken. Everybody seems to, oh, I'll provide jobs. How? How are you going to provide jobs? From where? I'm going to improve on the lives of people. How? During politics, all these things can be said to be able to get interest. But now we've come to the business of governance. I think that I haven't had that bite. I haven't had any of these governors that have said, okay, fine, you know what I'm going to do? Because I want to first and foremost know what mineral resources, what human resources, what infrastructure, functional or dysfunctional, that I have, and then the population of my people and how I'm able to skill them to begin to now fit into these new realities, these socio-economic realities that is facing us. I haven't seen that, and I really, really advise that now so that we can leave the euphoria of the sirens and the victories and all that, and probably begin to build some kind of, consensus at the level of looking at things as they are in themselves.
Okay, Dr. Emeka, we'll get to talk more about skill acquisition, agriculture, and how to use our teeming youth. More than 65% of Nigeria's population are out there seeking work and seeking to learn new things, develop themselves according to world best practice. We'll talk about that when we come back after this break. Do stay. You're welcome back. And my guest, Dr. Emeka Nkwogu, is still in the studio. Sir, we're talking about agriculture, skill acquisition before we went on the break. And, with the population in, more than 250,000 Nigerians, with more than 60 million Nigerians, with more than 65 youth population, and their expectations is quite high. We can achieve all these things if there is the political will to do it. Because most of the time in their manifesto, in their campaigns, these governors make a lot of promises. When they get into office, it's a whole new ball game. Expectations begin to drop. Let's hear your views on that.
Well, that's what I said to you, that you see, what I expected to hear are these governors setting up technical working committees to first and foremost do what they call, an audit of existing infrastructure. And when I'm talking about infrastructure, you're talking about your education infrastructure, you're talking about transport infrastructure, you're talking about your agriculture infrastructure, even talking about your energy infrastructure. And against what you have, you now begin to now develop the skills, and so it becomes, needs-based and demand-driven, and becomes what they call result-oriented. Okay, it becomes what you call a PPA, a plan program of action. Now, you've removed it from the realm of I will to this is how I'm going to get about it. So you begin to now do this timelining. Now, you talked about skills acquisition. You just don't wake up in the morning and then mix a cup of skill and give to somebody to drink. No, you need to equip that person. And you just don't do that equipping and then give a person a certificate to go away. You need also to engage the person. And this is where programs like what you call the job creation partnerships should come into play. Now, but you can't do this alone as a government. You can begin to now co-share. I'll give you a typical example with the Lake program, where you had, Kebbi producing rice and Lagos marketing the rice. Now, you can begin to draw from that kind of program to, first and foremost, okay, what skills do we need? How many electricians do we need in the state? How many carpenters do we need? How many skill acquisition schools do we have? Okay, because a lot of these people who are trying to engage these young people, and if you're talking about skill, you're just not talking about, the person using, what do they call the saw and the hammer to knock on tables. You have nanotechnology that is a new, crazy, all to the end, system. You have biotechnology, okay? You have ICT. There's so much opening up now that you can be able to train these skills. Even without formal education, you can train these young people to begin to engage. You have a lot of people who are camera people who can repair equipment and all that. But if you do not know where to place them and you train them, you frustrate them the more. So it's not about just saying it. That's the point I'm trying to make. It's about having that planned program of action that first and foremost says, okay, These are how many people I have who are between the ages of 18 and probably 35. This is the kind of education they have. These are the schools I have. These are the teachers that are equipping these children. These are the kind of things I think I've been needing. Now, if you're not able to ask these questions, and they're not technical, they're just ordinary, you find out that you get into office and you get swallowed up, with the protocol of excellency. And the moment you get swallowed up with protocol of excellency, getting those who might be able to, tell you what you need to do, they now become your critics.
Okay, Dr. Emeka, let's take these two reports to back up our conversation. I will return to you after these reports. Residents of Oyo and Kwara State have called on their governors-elect to see their re-election as a call to do more. They made the appeal while speaking with NTA reporters on their expectations from the governors-elect. Lukman Hassan tells us more.
President of Ibadan, there is the need for Governor Seyi Makinde not to relent in creating more job opportunities for people of the state. They emphasize that its antecedent in the first time should be enhanced to make Oyo State greater across sectors.
Governance is about unity, it's about peace. So if all of these things are in place, I think Governor Seyi Makinde will do much more than he did in the first term.
For Oyo State, we believe there will be great improvement in social amenities, in education sector.
To residents of Oyo Town and Ogbomosho, as fired in by Shefiu Olaniyan and Kola Oyelami, Governor Seyi Makinde should focus on job creation to eradicate vices in the society.
Employing him that he should do more in the aspect of local government administrations, because I observed that majority of our local government has been crumbled.
Similarly, Raliat Ibrahim from Ilorin, Kwara State capital, noted that the people appealed to Governor Abdulrahman Abdulrazak-led administration to see the re-election as an opportunity to complete ongoing projects in the state.
A lot of ongoing projects, which we hope that is going to facilitate the completion of those projects.
Issues of creating wealth, creating an enabling environment that can allow small and medium-scale enterprises to thrive.
The residents from Ibadan, Oyo Town, Ogbomosho and Ilorin for the charge the re-elected governors to ensure the security of lives and property of the people. In Ibadan, Lukman Hassan, NTA News.
The 2023 general elections have finally come to an end with winners emerging. Robinson Dairy today reports that stakeholders in Rivers State are calling on the elected leaders to concentrate more on governance and work towards fostering unity among the people, irrespective of tribe or religion.
The newly elected leaders in Nigeria will be faced with the challenges of building national unity, infrastructure, the economy and security, which form the basis of most of their campaigns. Here in Rivers State, opinion leaders say the present government has done well in the area of infrastructure, providing the incoming government the opportunity to dive into human capital development, job creation, and open up the coastal areas with more development.
This boy is a Rivers boy, lived in Rivers State, so he definitely will meet every town, every community, every local government at their points of need.
The issue of security is of concern to every citizen of this country, and in short, it should be the most important thing to address.
I think politically in Cross River State, our expectation is huge and is high. We're expecting our representatives to be able to not just bring the dividends of democracy, but chart a roadmap for the future.
To promote national unity, the elected leaders are advised to be magnanimous in victory through equal distribution of appointments and projects. Nigerians are also advised to prefer solutions, give positive ideas to leaders, and avoid unnecessary criticisms. In Port Harcourt, Robinson Darateide, NTA News.
Dr. Emeka is still with me. Dr. Emeka, let's talk about something that, bothers everybody, especially in the States, and that is the civil service. It is the engine room of any government. Now, some governments have still not, implemented the minimum wage, and some incoming governors are coming in to meet empty coffers. And there's so much expectation from the civil service. What do they do? Let's have your take.
Well, again, it's one of those very thorny issues. The truth of the matter is that the civil service is actually the governance. They are the people, that form the framework. So when you have a weak civil service, there's no way you can have a strong governance. That's what it is. And it is not possible for you to have a strong governance, a strong civil service, when you are not, training them, when you're not equipping them, when you're not building capacity. And to be able to do this, you either need the institutions in-house or locally, or you need to take them outside where they can be able to get the proper skill. Now, this is a very major challenge. It's tied to, again, the availability of the funding to do so. Now, for every clip you have shown, I haven't seen anybody who said, oh, let's be able to return the industries that should be able to create these jobs. You're asking the governor whose job it is, technically, not to create jobs, but to create the enabling environment for those who can be able to now create the jobs to come in. Now, this is a challenge. So if you're talking about the civil service, I'd rather we talk about the workforce. And again, this is where it also becomes a chicken and egg. If you want me to come and establish a factory in your place, do you have the support infrastructure that I need? The first, of course, will be energy. The second will be availability of raw materials. The third, and equally as important, will be the skills you need to be able to, support that production. Now, this is a very major problem. And you mentioned in your intro that we have about 65% of our citizens in this youthful age. We just don't have a youthful age. We have a youthful age that is largely uneducated when they are, and very educated and unemployable where they are. So it's a mixture of people who are there, no access to what they equip them to have life skills, and those who've gone to school and have studied things that are of no consequence, of no use, for them to be able to move on in life. So this is a very major problem, and it's getting worse, and it's shown, in this disruptiveness. You talked about the tsunami. Now, citizens are expecting these governors, to become magicians. Unfortunately, I do not see any new thing that is going to happen except to have a total paradigm shift. And that paradigm shift will be for that first governor, like in Sokoto, for instance, to come and say, you know what, my priority is going to be able to equip the skill of both my government staff that is supposed to be maintaining standards and oversighting the functions, to those who are going to be entering into now making certain that we will now develop these organic and inorganic fertilizer plants. Now, I want to see a governor of Zamfara who says, okay, we have a dam, that can be able to now help us generate electricity, and we're going to now be focusing on getting the skills, getting the technical capacity to help us now begin to now up our production in cotton. Ditto for Adamawa, and then for places like Abia State, where I come from, where you have a lot of workforce, people have gone to school, we don't have a lot of land. I expect the governor, who is a banker,
indeed, Dr. Emeka, a huge responsibility, on the shoulders of the governor, returning governors, and the governors-elect. Like you said, the chicken and the egg, which comes first? A puzzle that nobody has been able to solve. Thank you so much for coming on Weekend Fire.
Pleasure to be here.
I've been speaking with Dr. Emeka Nwogo. He's the development expert. We'll take a break. When we return, more report. You're welcome back. The Nigerian Upstream Petroleum Regulatory Commission says President Muhammadu Buhari has approved the amendment of the bid round calendar for 2022 to 2023. The Commission's Chief Executive, Benga Komalafe, in a statement said the approval is to accommodate the concerns expressed by both local and international investors over the closeness of the schedule to the terminal date of the present administration in the country. Komalafe said that the move is geared towards boosting confidence in the transparency and continuity of the 2022-2023 deep offshore oil block mini-bid round process. Following the approval by President Muhammadu Buhari, the Nigerian Upstream Petroleum Regulatory Commission revised the deep offshore oil block and round schedule by extending the deadline for the submission of technical commercial bids to May 19, 2023, and timeline for concluding activities of the contract negotiations and signing between July 3rd and 28, 2023. The CCC CCE reiterated that the Commission is fully committed to conducting the bid round in a manner that guarantees the achievement of the objectives of the exercise, pointing out that participation is both robust and beneficial to key stakeholders. And sports update is next.
Johnson Amowe Dagana has set his sight on repositioning the Super Eagles Supporters Club to cheer Nigerian teams to glory. Dagana made this known in Abuja shortly after his election into the office of the president of the association during the elective congress, where he emerged unopposed.
To ensure we hit the ground by ensuring that we begin to do the needful by starting to put our plans, roll out our plans of how we are going to begin to ensure that we support football and other sports.
In the Nigeria Premier Football League, Okanemi Warriors defeated Nasarawa United 2-1 in Group A in a match-day 12 encounter played Saturday. On Sunday, Bendel Insurance are away to Plateau United. Bayelsa United will face Abia Warriors, with Akwa United welcoming Enyimba International to the Godswill Akpabio International Stadium. Elsewhere, Gabriel Jesus' double and goals from Granit Xhaka and Ben White ensured Arsenal recorded a comfortable 4-1 victory over Leeds United at the Emirates to restore their red-point lead atop the Premier League table. Earlier, Manchester City also recorded a 4-1 win against Liverpool at the Etihad, with Crystal Palace ending their 3-month winless run with a 2-1 home win against Leicester City. Back home, the management and staff of the Nigerian Television Authority converged on the NTA Arena this Saturday for the April edition of the monthly Keep Fit exercise of the authority. As in usual fashion, participants were put through some aerobic exercises and drills in line with the program's objective of keeping the NTA workforce fit.
There are so many people with heart diseases all over the place, but when you do this kind of exercise, you are breaking down the fats that surrounds your heart.
With this exercise, it gives me hope there's more of me, and I feel vibrated.
It's a very opportunity for people like us who, should I say, suffer from executive stress, because every day you sit down, work. This is a very good opportunity for us.
The next edition of the exercise is scheduled for May 2023. With sports update, Bade Adeleye, NTA News.
And that's how it's been on NTA Weekend File. Thanks so much for watching. I am Jumai Yusuf.